Welcome to the Goofy Getaways Podcast, the show where travel planning becomes part of the fun. Here we share expert guidance, real experiences from our travel advisors, and thoughtful conversations designed to help travelers feel more confident before they ever leave home. I'm your host, Amy Blades, founder and CEO of Goofy Getaways, and each week we'll be bringing you insight, strategy, and support that turns good trips into unforgettable ones. I think it's really important to talk about how to find the right travel advisor for you, because everybody has a different style, which is what I love about the diversity of our agency, is that there's so many knowledgeable people that you can choose from, right? And I really want to have a conversation, and just a really meaningful conversation, and get your guys' perspective on even like before you became a travel consultant and when you were thinking about what it was that you would need, finding the right person for your trip, like talking about that, but then also talking about the type of travel advisor that you are if somebody is looking to book their trip with you.
What I was looking for was mostly somebody who would hear me because, like you said, you can get all the information. You can get it if you want to look for it. But I really wanted somebody who would hear our needs, our specific needs, our wants, and what we really wanted to get out of our vacation, and help me find that without having to spend 12 hours on the internet searching Facebook groups or outdated articles. I didn't want to do that. I wanted somebody who knew what they were talking about so they could lead me to the right decision for my family, to help me kind of narrow it down. 25 plus resorts. Do we want to do this character meal? What ride is great for somebody who does not like heights? Or what rides am I going to avoid because I get motion sick? You can't get that from, I mean, you can eventually, but somebody who had it all right there. And I think for me, that's what I look for the most. And when I'm trying to plan with my clients is really, what are your unique needs? What can I add to your trip that is really, really going to make this over the top for you, both stress-free and memory-wise? Parents, always get the memory maker. Please, moms, get in those photos. Things like that. And I get that comment more than anything. I've never had family photos because I'm always the one taking the pictures, So I think it's just really listening and hearing your clients and what they really need. Nothing is cookie cutter in this industry. Not one cruise, not one Disney, not Universal, all inclusive. There are thousands of options, and I just want to get the one that works for them.
Yeah, and don't you feel like every trip, even when you think about trips for yourself, are different? Any family vacation
Entirely.
you go on, it's like, I might want something different out of this trip than what I got on that trip, or we did this on this trip, but I want something different. And just really listening is key, right? I think we probably get more from listening to what people's needs and wants are than doing all of the talking that first time, for sure.
Even my own Disney trips are different if I'm going with my kids or, without my kids.
Right.
It's a much different trip. We don't tell.
We will not tell them. Yeah. How do
take
you
the trip without your kids?
Like when you think about, I know that you had talked about like military families, which is so extremely important, but I also know you have a lot of clients that aren't military as well. So I know that you're confident selling different destinations as well. What do you think your style is? Like if somebody is looking for a travel consultant, what makes you stand out? Like what would be different, the kind of style that you have for your...
We tend to be extra. Like my whole family, we're extra with everything we do.
Yeah.
We're always looking for that extra. But extra is different to everybody. For somebody, it's just knowing where the picky foods are for their picky eaters. For somebody else, that extra is knowing where they can get their gluten-free or their allergy or how to go around that. So it's extra, but it looks different. It's not always over the top. It's just that little extra touch.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Laura?
I talk about multi-generational trips, and one of the things that I had to do is the scooters. Do you want to rent from the park, or do you want it to come from an outside agency? Do you want 4 wheels versus 3 wheels? That makes a huge difference because like getting on and off of the transportation is huge if you have the wrong scooter. It really is. And then
it can make
literally
or break a trip.
never thought of that ever because I've never had to use a scooter myself. That's crazy, but it's so true. And like having that knowledge, like how would you know unless you knew, right?
Right. Well, the baby care stations, knowing where those were.
Because you're planning a trip for multi-generational, you're talking about scooters and baby needs.
Yes. I had a niece who, she was 4 when we went, but she had a heart defect and she has lung issues, and she was on oxygen for part of our trip. And we had to get her out of the heat sometimes because we went in June. I mean, it's hot. And that's another thing that I talk to people about, how hot it is in Florida in June. But
it is. Yeah. Well,
but
oxygen though, right? Like oxygen's a big thing. I have family that has had to travel and setting that up. And whether you're talking about at the park or if you're talking about Disney Cruise Line, those are a lot of steps that people don't realize that you have to take that are really, really important. Yeah. I think in knowing that you've got somebody that is in your corner for all of those things, right? Like when you're looking for somebody, if they're specializing in what the multi-generational, some of the things that other agents wouldn't think about. And it's not like it's a bad thing. It's just they hadn't dealt with it really.
haven't dealt with it. Yeah.
What do you think, Kayla?
For me, I've definitely taken more of an approach of maximizing every moment instead of maximizing your day. And so what that means is I have just gotten so fatigued over this is how you can get every single ride done, and this is how you can do the most. And I'm like, gosh, it's exhausting. And I hate the normalization of, well, you didn't do your Disney trip right if you didn't come back totally exhausted. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that we should be promoting that. The clients that I find connect best with me are the ones that are like, listen, we've done the trip where we've done sun up to sundown, rope dropped fireworks. Like, we've done that. We were exhausted. We hated that. That is not what we want, but we do love Disney, right? And so what I really focus on is helping my clients figure out what are the priorities, like what is the feeling we want to get from this trip, and then like actually getting the most out of that moment. We actually went to the parks. I went to the parks, Magic Kingdom, for the very first time with children, not my own because I don't have kids, but we had some friends that came and visited and we did the parks, and they had a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And let me tell you, that changed my perspective so much on just visiting the parks, because like I help a ton of families with kids, but there is just a little bit different feeling when you're there doing it yourself. And she told me they have no concept of what a ride is. They've never done anything like that. So I don't even know if they're going to like rides. So we were like, great. Lightning Lane is not something that we're going to spend money on because that would be so silly. If we did that, then they hated rides, right? But she's like, but we're really into princesses. I was like, awesome. So we just spent as much time doing as many princessy things as we could. And we took our time. We weren't rushing around trying to go to here and go to there and do this and that and the other. We were like, we're going to do this and we're going to enjoy this moment. And they had the most amazing day. And like being able to plan those types of things out, it just makes your trip so much better. And those are the types of things that I do with my clients is like, okay, yes, big picture. Yes, details. Yes, I love making all my lovely little planning guides and whatever. But I'm like, I want to know what is going to make this feel really special for you.
I think one of my favorite things is even talking to you after that and hearing, I know the way that you plan trips for people. I know your clientele. Like I know that, and hearing you talk about it from that perspective, I feel like was a lot of fun for me hearing you and Mark Allen talk about watching the magic through the little ones that you had not seen before. Like I thought that was really, really special.
I think people just forget that sometimes, like in the world of, do it all, like maximizing everything. I think people just forget that like you're taking a little kid with feet who are like little legs that are like 4 inches tall, right? Like they're not built for this idea of just conquering Disney. Like that's not what little kids are meant for. And I think just taking a minute to have someone who also recognizes that and is going to help you realize that, you're going to have a much better trip because of it.
It's my favorite thing, watching families with the little ones and just listening and watching it through their eyes and their excitement. And, sometimes I have to remind myself when I get, frustrated with something, I don't know, the crowds or something with, that's not what it used to be. And it's like, Amy, like shut your mouth and pay it. Some of these people, we are very fortunate that we can see the fireworks whenever we want to go see them. Some people only get to see them once in their lifetime, like perfect example of when they change things. So that's actually what I'm talking about, right? Like I was like an illuminations person, absolutely loved it. And then they keep changing things. And I'm just like, man, I'm like, just zip it and try to enjoy it in this moment because there's somebody that never saw the other that they offered. So this is what they're seeing, right? Or, I'm a big wishes, like that's my favorite thing, right? And it's just watching it through other people's eyes always really brings me back to the whole core of why I even opened the agency and why I like to plan trips for people. It really does. It makes a big difference.
Well, and I think something really important with that too, right? So like I said, I don't have kids, but I help tons of families that do have kids. And so I do know like how to plan a trip for a family with kids and stuff. And I think that's the thing about having an advisor is they're not just a random person who went to Disney once, right? They're not Aunt Sally who went a couple years ago and this was the experience they had. So this is what they're going to tell you to do, right? No, we're in this actively every single day, helping a very wide variety of people in a wide variety of situations, way different demographics, different dynamics. And so that experience is something that helps us be able to better help you, even if it's not something that we necessarily have like firsthand knowledge. Or like I have had families who come who have like PTSD, and I message Trisha every time and I'm like, Trisha, I need some advice to give to this client. Please tell me how I can better help them, right? And like having that team of people who specialize in different things. And that's so important. Like you should really look for a travel advisor who specializes in something. People are just like, I'm a travel advisor. I can book everything. Yeah, we can all book everything. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be right for your trip.
What you just said, Kayla, because I was just going to ask each of you, like, hey, in your opinion, when you're thinking about somebody asking about a travel advisor, right? Like, what would your advice be to them? Like, they don't want to book with Goofy Getaways because their aunt owns, DW Shopping, whatever it is. What are the questions that are important when you're looking for a travel consultant? Sure, we would like to book everybody. That's not realistic, but I still want, even if someone's not booking their trip with us, I still want their experience to be incredible. So what are the questions that you think are most important for somebody to ask when looking for a travel advisor? And I was going to ask that. And then with what you just said, Kayla, was it definitely has to do with breaking down. Specialties are important if you've got people that really do specialize in certain things. What other kind of questions do you think that we should ask or people should ask?
I think that one of the most important ones is asking how they communicate. I think that this is huge, and a lot of people don't think to ask this. Like I mentioned earlier, I use a third-party app with a lot of my clients, and it's not like complicated, but if you're somebody who really does not understand how to use like a phone app or things like that, I'm probably not going to be the best agent for you. But there are other people on our team who primarily plan via phone call, in person, email, other options. And so making sure that the communication style is going to work for both of you. Because don't get me wrong, if you are somebody who you're like, nah, I like to talk on the phone, sure, I can totally help you. I'm going to be panicking the whole time because I don't like to talk on the phone, but I can help you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be the right fit, right? And so
I think that's the trick for me,
Yeah.
right? Like as the agency owner, when because we do have many quotes that come to the agency and like assigning them to the right agent. Sometimes people will say, oh, I've used Trisha before, so I want, and I'll go back to Trisha. But I think there's also a lot of times where they don't. They're like, hey, whoever, and it's really important. And we do ask those type of questions because I have agents that will only talk on the phone. And then I have agents who will be like, I'm not talking on the phone. I'll only do through email. And like, for me personally, I would rather do email, but also for me, if I have a agent that I'm thinking from my perspective, if they're like, they're never going to pick up the phone and talk to me, that wouldn't be somebody that would work for me either. So really figuring out the best way to communicate is probably the most important thing when you're looking for a travel advisor.
I think that's something that really sets us apart as an agency too. I know a lot of times the bigger agencies, they get so many quotes all day, every day, and they have so many agents. They're just like throwing people out and seeing what sticks, right? We actually really do try to take the time to make sure that any clients that come to the agency, that we're pairing them with somebody who's going to work well with them, someone who actually knows a lot about the destination they're wanting to do or the certain dynamic that their family has. We're not just throwing you to a random advisor. So if you really don't know, obviously you can go to the page on our website and you can totally read everybody's bios and see if you gel with somebody. But if you're again, because this is part of our job, is helping you navigate these decisions, you shouldn't have to just find somebody, right? Let us help you navigate that and pair you with someone that is
really,
actually going to work
put
well
a lot
with you.
of, and I, where I don't like to be a prideful person, I take pride in that as an agency. It is something that we really do take serious, and we really do vet to make sure that that you're going to somebody that would work best for you. Something else that it makes me proud of our agency is we could have an agent that has booked the same person year after year after year for Disney, and then they come to them, they're like, look, I really want to do this new, Virgin Voyages. This is the new thing. We want to do this no kid trip. And And I've had, it happens a lot. I myself have also handed clients that I've had over to agents that do specialize in that. And there are so many times our agents are open to that. Like, look, I'm not really good at booking that, but Kayla is like amazing at that. So reach out to Kayla. It's just the way that you work, because we genuinely at Goofy Getaways put the client's need first. Like, that is 100% what we do. And that's the philosophy we have. It's our own vision statements. Like, that's the most important thing, because we really want people to have the best experience no matter where they're going, no matter what destination that they're at. Kind of with us, what you see is what you get, right? Like, it's a real deal. We really want people to have a good time. And we work really, really closely together to make sure that we can do our part in that.
I think real basics. What are your hours of availability? When can I contact you? When can I expect a good answer from you? If you have somebody who works nights and is only available during the days, Laura may not be the best person because she's going to be pretty much tied up during the day. We have agents all over the country, up and down the coast, all in the middle. And somebody who lives in California is not a good client for me. But we have phenomenal agents in California who can get to them on their time zone, who can help them with their things. So I think just even really basic kind of goes back to that communication of those level set of expectations. Like, when can I contact you? When can I expect to hear back from you? And just being honest with your clients and yourself if it's a good fit or if it's not. None of us want somebody to have a poor experience because we just happen to not be the right fit for them, just logistically, just kind of even right at the basics.
No, that's absolutely true. If you have somebody on the West Coast, a lot of times if we get quotes in, I will hand those West Coast ones off to the people on the West Coast, because it is all about what's the most convenient for everybody. I'll tell you something else that I always think about the specialty and what people specialize in destination wise, right? That's usually kind of what I think about. But when we talk about people in general, and something I know that, I personally do a lot of work with the Pride Chamber. And I'm really, really proud of our agency. The LGBTQ plus is something that we welcome, that we want to plan those trips. And you would be so surprised just by the work that I've done, the LGBTQ plus families that don't feel like there are safe spaces for them to go to book a trip. And I feel like it's a disservice to them. And it's something that I love about Goofy Getaways, knowing that we have agents, I shouldn't even say, we definitely have agents that specialize in that, but there isn't one agent that isn't going to help a family, any family of any type. And I love that, because every single experience, everyone should have the same experience, right? No matter who, all of that stuff doesn't matter. And we talk a lot about really that as an agency, because it's something that we take pride in. But there are just so many different, not just to single out one group, right? Like, I mean, you talk about different nationalities, we welcome all travelers. And not all travel agencies do that. And I will say that, and I'll stand on that. So I think it's important to know what you want. And I think it's important for guests to feel safe. They feel safe with the people that and it's not even so much the people that are booking them. That part is important, but also that we know the destinations that are going to be safe for them. I mean, there are some places where I wouldn't have people go, with small children, depending on there are just so many different things that go into. I feel like we focus so much on Disney because we are, an earmarked agency. That is absolutely our passion. But there are other destinations too. And sometimes not just focusing on, those one destinations and what's best for a trip to Disney. But let's talk about what's best for if you want to go on an all-inclusive. Let's talk about what's best if you want to do something out of the country. I think that is what makes an agency stand out, is when you have diversity amongst your agency with people that do know all of the different destinations, but also the type of people that you're booking. It's just really, really important to me, and I'm passionate about it, which, you guys know, and we could keep talking about it for a long time, and I don't want to do that. But it's just, there are so many things that are important that go into planning a trip, more than what people honestly realize. And because this is just us, I want to talk about what are some red flags that you might be like, oh, that isn't the agency for me. And you could even come to Goofy Getaways and be like, oh, that isn't like the right agency for me. And I have many friends that own agencies that are phenomenal people. So I'm not saying that we're the only agency out there. Obviously we're not, but let's talk about red flags amongst, like the kind of in general when it comes to travel agencies. I'll just say one of the things that does drive me absolutely nuts, and then I'd love to pass it over to you guys, but I do not like agencies that absolutely upsell and it's only about the bottom dollar. Now, I am going to tell you, at our agency, we are not going to upsell you. What we are going to do is tell you the value of each and everything that we can book for you. I hate that when someone just wants to book the biggest trip, but they're not following through with why. You got to listen. I mean, there are people that definitely want the quick serve dining plan. And let me tell you, I have people that definitely want a deluxe dining plan. There are so many ways and intricate ways to work things out, but it drives me nuts when I have had friends or clients come to me and say, look, I decided not to book with them because the only thing that they would quote me were deluxe, or the only thing they would give me was the high. So I just think you need to make sure that whoever that you're going to really does listen to the needs that we talk about it. What's your vision for your vacation? What is it that you want? I think that's important.
I was going to say arrogant. There's some agents that they are the end all be all. And I'm going to be human and I'm going to say, I haven't booked that trip yet. Let me find out about that question for you, or I'm going to at least talk to somebody. If I've not done it, I'm going to ask. And again, we pass it on if it's too over our heads, but a lot of times we have that extra, hey, let me ask. I can find that answer. I know that answer is around here somewhere. But the agents that are like, oh yeah, that's fine. We can do that no matter what.
Yeah. Or absolutely, you don't want to do that. That arrogance too. Yeah. Right? Like if you have a client that absolutely has their heart set on, I don't want to just pick out something like, there are definitely restaurants that aren't my favorite. How about that? And if somebody really has their heart set, you better believe I'm going to tell them, look, this is why I don't like it, but I am more than happy to have you try it out and then let me know how it was. But the arrogance of that, right? That's a really good point. Yeah. Trisha, what about you? Come on, you got to have one of those.
Agents who try to talk you out of stuff. My goal is to hear what you want and find a way to make it happen instead of doing that. No, we can't do that. Or no, that's not going to work. I mean, yes, there's some things that will not work with certain budgets. That's just the reality of it. But where can we get that yes? What can we find for you? But just stop trying to talk your clients out of what they want. It's just so annoying. And I've heard it over and over again. I went to this agent and I told them I wanted to stay at the All-Stars. And they told me I was going to have the worst time ever at the All-Stars. I'm like, hey, I love the food court at the All-Stars. They got this really cute little cupcake. Get excited for what your client wants. Don't kind of yuck their yum. You know what I mean? Let's get excited for what they want.
I think along with that too, it's the education aspect. And so it's one of those, like for the All-Stars, for example, like for some people, it's a fantastic option. For other people, it's going to be a nightmare. And our job as a travel advisor is to educate our client and being like, hey, I think that this is going to be so great if you love this, 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 and this. Just as a heads up, if this, or this is a concern for you, you may not enjoy this. And then you put the ball in their court, right? That is what our job is. It's not to tell people what to do. It's to advise them. And advice is advice. It's not commands, right? We're not telling people we have to do something. But I also think too, don't be afraid to talk to more than one advisor, right? It's the biggest thing it all comes down to is making sure that you mesh with your advisor, right? If you don't work well together, you're not going to have a great experience, right? And I don't say this to shop around to see who gets you the best price, right? Because that is so dumb, honestly, in my opinion. If you're doing that, you're really just wasting your time because the price is the price, right? It's very rare that people can come up with different prices. What you should be shopping around for is, okay, who's getting back to me in a good, timely manner? Who's giving me answers and actually explaining things, and who's just throwing numbers at me, right? Those are the kinds of things that when I say shop your agents, shop your advisors, talk to a couple if you've never worked with one before, and make sure that you're going to get the experience that you want, not just this is the first person I found, right? Same thing with real estate agents or your nail lady or anything. Like sometimes it takes time to find the person that you work best with, and that's okay.
No, that's on my pet people list too, like just communication. And, I know they say that like 24 hours is really like the professional, like the courtesy, get back within 24 hours. Whether or not you agree with it, we live in a fast-paced world and people want to have answers much quicker than that. And if you're somebody that's cool with waiting 24 hours, then an agent might work really well for you. If you're somebody that wants someone that's going to be answering, I think it goes back to setting office hours. I'm huge on that as an agency owner. I really encourage agents, set office hours and make sure that you're communicating that with your client so that they know that when you are available, you are absolutely going to be on top of it. And then if it's a time that isn't, I think that those are things that are really, really important in those first conversations. But communication in either lack of response time or quick response time they can make or break your whole entire planning of your trip. So yeah. Well, you guys, we did our season 2. That was our first episode. I think we talked about some really, really great things. And hopefully our listeners think that we really gave you some good points, some things that you can take back when you're planning your trips. So we at Goofy Getaways would love to help you plan any of your trips. And we've got lots of us that can help you with different specialties. So check out our website. I know that we say that quite a bit, but if you want help finding your perfect travel advisor, we do have a wide range of expert travel advisors who specialize in all kinds of travel, all kinds of backgrounds. I love that about our company. And I think that if you checked out our website, you would love that about our company too. So you can visit goofygetaways.com or you can go to the link in the description to learn more about how you can book a trip with us. So that is it for today's episode. And until next time, let Goofy Getaways lead you to the magic.